dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sith Talk. Today we have on the show Ashton from the Ashton Charette IG page. How you doing, Ashton?
Doing all right. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So tell us a little bit about your page and what kind of stuff you cover over there on Instagram.
Yeah, right on. So, like all of us, just we have our own ways of being dorky, in the Star Wars universe. And
Yeah.
my thing is primarily musical breakdowns. So mainly John Williams stuff, but I'm getting into other composers. There's a lot of music out there, depending on what series you're watching, whatever. So, yeah, just musical breakdowns, trying to make we all enjoy the soundtracks, but sometimes, like the music theory side of it can be a little out there for some. So I try to make it as accessible as possible, like break down really cool parts of the scores, just, tying in some storytelling aspects, the
hmm
lore behind it. And yeah, just putting that as presentable as possible. So that's pretty much the gist of what I do.
Awesome. So for you guys watching, I'm gonna put the link to his Instagram down in the description. Go check him out. I know I've saw your stuff on Instagram before, and then I was watching Mortis FM, their podcast, and they were talking about you. And I was like, I've seen that guy before. And I went and I deep dived even more. And
Yeah,
I
man.
and I want to say the guys at Beyond the Dune Sea also like brought you up on one of their podcasts. So
Nice.
like, yeah, I love your breakdowns, and it's crazy how much music plays a part, especially in Star Wars. I would honestly say it's like
Yes.
50% of the experience is the music.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's I forget who did it, but there's a video out there of just the intro to like A New Hope without any soundtrack and just how different it's still
Yeah,
cool. Like visually, it's cool, but for the full Star Wars experience, like the music is just so it's just so embedded into the experience. So
yeah,
yeah,
for sure. So everyone that comes on, they get 3 questions. You ready?
ready.
All right. So the first one is, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Okay. I'm gonna this might be wild for some. I'm gonna go with The Phantom Menace.
Nice, nice. I've had a few people come on and they've said The Phantom Menace, but why
Yeah.
is it for you? Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's absolutely the nostalgia aspect
Mhm.
to it. Like I was born in '93. So
Mhm.
like, one of the last generations to like kind of know Star Wars before the prequels came out,
Yeah.
and so experiencing Star Wars Episode 1 after being familiar with the original trilogy as a little kid, that was just so, amazing. Then, it gets better and better, obviously. But yeah, there's that nostalgia part of it, but
Uh-huh.
I just being older and like, the timeline and the lore, I love that we're reintroduced to planets and then introduced to new planets in the film, and just
Yeah.
everything holds up in my opinion. Like the CG holds up.
Yeah.
It was just a groundbreaking movie, like in a lot of ways in the movie sphere. So I don't know. There's just a lot of accolades that come with the Phantom Menace, and I love the story personally. I love Jake Lloyd, just the whole thing. Just for me, it's a really solid film without
Mhm.
getting too dark. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
2 and 3 gets pretty dark, which is awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
Phantom Menace for me. So
I love the Phantom Menace. So my favorite Star Wars score is Duel of the Fates. So
oh
like
yeah, 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 yeah,
Phantom Menace holds a spot in my
yeah,
heart. And like I just remember like that was my first movie in 99, my first time seeing a Star Wars in the theater. And I remember like it was yesterday. So like being a 15-year-old kid in 99, seeing it in theaters, like so
yeah.
priceless. And like seeing like Darth Maul for the first time and the dual saber and that fight.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can't beat that. You
yeah.
can't,
And it never gets old, man. It really doesn't. So
for
that
sure.
that's a good one for sure. Now, the next one, what's your favorite Star Wars show?
I bounce around. I honestly bounce around. And maybe we can talk about this more. I actually really enjoy Andor.
Really? Okay.
I really I do. I actually really enjoy that one. but if I had to pick like just one Star Wars show to have with me, and that's it, like all of this had to go away. Oh
Yeah.
man, I don't know. And I can't just pick like one live action and one animated, right? Like this is
One to rule them all.
one to rule them all. I guess I'd have to go with Clone Wars. I mean,
Clone Wars.
just maybe even out of just sheer watch time, like you would have the most amount of Star Wars to
Yeah,
watch, if
yeah.
you could only pick that one. So yeah, yeah, I'll go with Clone Wars.
That's a solid one. Clone Wars has some banger stuff in it, especially that last season. That the last 4 episode arc is basically Revenge of the Sith.
Dude.
So good.
Yeah, just that other angle and
Yeah,
just everything you like, how high stakes everything is, and yeah, so emotional. That one's a pretty emotional, last couple seasons or last
yeah,
couple episodes, yeah.
yeah. No, that's a really, really good one. So the last question is, who's your favorite Star Wars character?
When I was younger, I would have said Anakin.
Hmm.
Now that I'm older, it's Kenobi.
Kenobi. Now, which version of Kenobi, Alec or Ewan?
That's tough. I'm gonna go with Ewan for sure.
Ewan, yeah.
Yeah.
And why Kenobi?
Man, I love his demeanor, like, he's so he has that sarcasm, like, he doesn't take things too seriously, until after Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah, yeah.
and just I mean, he's a warrior, but, like, a disciplined warrior, he's not too
Hmm.
unleashed or unwieldy, like, he's strategic, just, his lightsaber skills, I mean, it's like Anakin, but it's just like a more mature, in a
Yeah.
way, Anakin. I don't know, man, like yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that. So I don't ring.
Yeah, Kenobi, like, he's one of the few that has been through so much, and he lost everything. He lost Satine, he lost
Yes,
Anakin, he lost the Jedi Order, and he never turned, which
that's
is
the thing.
yeah, which is crazy. So
That's the
he's a
thing.
he's a tough SOB, man. Kenobi is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because even though he didn't turn to the dark side, right? Like, he definitely has that shift from being, very counsel oriented
Yep.
to then, in the original trilogy, we're hearing him say, "Well, that was true depending on your point of view," and it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, like those words, when Anakin's like, "Well, from my point of view," like
Yeah.
you can tell like that stuck with Obi-Wan, in a way. And
Yeah.
so yeah, he never turned to the dark side though. That's the key. So yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Awesome. So I got a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about, but the first thing I want to talk about is music. So like what got you into breaking down like the Star Wars music? Cuz like you're probably one of the first or very few people that I see like breaking it down the way that you do on social media on any platform.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. So I mean, growing up, music was a huge part of my life. I ended up going to college for music. So, but growing up as a kid, I mean, the soundtracks were just on all the time. Like
Yeah.
I had this CD player, like the one you held in your palm, and just
The
like
Kiss Man, yes.
just would put that on, and just listen to that in my room, like with my Legos or whatever. And so
Mhm.
these sounds and experiences musically, they stick with you. I think all of us, even if you're not a musician, you had these soundtracks on repeat at a certain point in
Yeah.
your lives. So yeah, it just, as I got more into studying music, like collegiately, like in college and in high school, um, the more I was able to really get into these sounds and okay, why does this sound the way it does? Like this part is so unique. Why does it
Mhm.
sound like that? And it's because this instrument and this instrument are paired together in this register
Yeah.
of their instrument. So there's all this kind of stuff. And I went to school for jazz studies, so harmony is in studying harmony is a huge deal. And whenever you like kind of know some harmony things, whenever you listen to the soundtracks again, what John Williams is doing is just it's wild.
Yeah.
It's like you have a stank face on, whenever you're listening to this, like you would if you're listening to like, I don't know, whoever. So yeah, I just it came from it came from wanting myself to understand more of what John Williams is doing, like how
Mhm.
is he accomplishing these sounds, but then also the storytelling, like the reason why the scores are so timeless and so just
Yeah.
awesome is because of the storytelling aspect of them. So, they're hand in hand. So I guess that's really where it came from. And then I've kind of always talked to friends and family about these dorky things like, oh, like Anakin's theme like does this and that. And like, oh, like this part over here is like this part over here.
Yeah.
I've always done that stuff with friends, and I got to the point where I was like, I need to get this out of my head and compile, just like make little sound bites that I can
Yeah.
keep, and like get this out of my head. So yeah, it just came from wanting to share that with more people. And I didn't expect for so many people to love it like they do, and
Yeah.
even think the same things, or just like, oh, I've always felt that, but I didn't know how to explain that or express that. So it's really cool to see, to really share it with so many people, more than I anticipated.
That's awesome. Now, do you feel like since you kind of have like a unique ear when you're watching these Star Wars show, does that like either enhance the experience when you notice things or does it take away when you don't hear as much?
Yeah. So thankfully, I can like toggle back and forth
Okay, okay.
between those like modes of thinking. For the most part, thankfully, for the most part, I actually I experience it all as a whole still,
Okay.
which is really cool. Now, part of that might just be like I'm not composing film scores like on the daily, like I'm not like pro level musician,
Yeah.
but so part of it might just be that, like I know just enough to be dangerous kind of thing,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I thankfully I still experience like the shows that are coming out now, like Ahsoka, for example. I experienced that as a whole, which was
Mhm.
really fun, and I had to go back through, like, I had to wait for the soundtracks to come out
Uh
on Spotify to, like,
yeah.
actually, like, okay, like, stop watching, like, let me just listen.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so that's where, like, those Ahsoka breakdowns, that's where all of those popped off. It's not like when I first watched it, I made those connections.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time dedicated to, like, just listening for the sole purpose of listening. So that's where it is. Now there are some things that will take me out of the zone, like
Uh-huh.
out of the watching zone. Um, if they're like jarring or something. I know the first time I watched Mandalorian, that was a very different sound than we
Oh,
were
yeah.
used to,
Yep, yep, yep. Ludwig,
I'm
yeah.
yeah, I'm used to it now, and like it's so dope. But
Yeah.
at first it was a little jarring for me, so had to get into that. But yeah, thankfully for the most part, I can still experience it as a whole, like I did as a kid. So
Nice. Now, I'm curious the Kenobi show because that's one thing about the
mhm.
Kenobi show. There wasn't a lot of like familiar scores. I feel like it was kind of like bland almost until the very end, and maybe like Kenobi's theme was kind of cool. But like,
Mhm.
what you think watching the Kenobi show with the music?
That was one, that was a little jarring to me.
Yeah,
I think mainly because we have these legacy characters,
yeah,
like, these are huge moments, and so I think to watch them and hear them without those familiar themes, it just felt a little removed, there's great stuff. I need to do a few breakdowns, that I have in mind for the Kenobi show. Now, Kenobi's theme was composed by John Williams, which is so cool.
yeah,
But the rest of it, I'm pretty sure it was Natalie Holt. I'm pretty sure, which she's an epic composer. Like she's kind of
yeah.
taken the world by storm, the film scoring world. So that's awesome. But yeah, there are a few breakdowns I want to do because there are some really cool moments, that'll kind of, you know kind of give a little more love to the rest of the Kenobi soundtrack. But yeah,
Yeah,
I have to agree. For the most part, it was a little jarring. There were a couple places that fell a little flat for me.
yeah.
Yeah, which is just such a bummer to say,
I
but
know.
I mean, that's and other people might have had different experiences, obviously, but that was my experience too. So, yeah.
Yeah, especially because like, I remember watching a fan edit where they took that final fight and they either put Duel of the Fates or Battle
Yeah.
of the Heroes or, like, a mixture of the 2,
Yes, it was
and
a
I was
mixture.
watching it and I'm like, "This is amazing," like, how pumped and, like, they kind of faked this out because the first Kenobi trailer we got had that remix of Duel of the Fates in it,
I know.
and we didn't hear that once in the show, so it's like they, like, led us on. I was a little hurt
Yes,
by that.
yes, and that's a maybe we can talk about this too. That's a whole other thing with trailers, Star Wars trailers specifically. That yeah, they seem to be doing that where they'll like throw us for a loop,
Yeah,
or really pump you up, which is sick. But then like let's have a little bit of that, too. Like we were looking forward to seeing that on
yeah.
the big screen. So yeah, it would have been dope to hear that compilation during their fight. But yeah.
Yeah. So I was curious about that for the Kenobi, but on the flip side, I felt like the Ahsoka show's music was like it felt so Star Wars. It was Kevin Kiner who did like the Clone Wars music, right?
Yeah, and Rebels. So,
And Rebels. So how did Ahsoka's
dude,
music make you feel while watching it? Because to me, I was like everything hit.
yeah,
Everything hit.
everything hit. Um, there were a couple of things that were just different stylistically,
Yeah.
that were pretty cool, but I was like, "Whoa, that's different," like the Night Troopers, like
Yeah.
that thing on the violin, like, that was different. We've never really quite heard that before,
Yeah.
but yeah, everything hit. There's a couple of places that got really dense, like voicing wise, like in the
Mm,
brass. Like I think in the first episode, there's like some really dense chords that are playing or voicings that are playing, and that like for me as a musician, I was like, that's crunchy, like whoa,
yeah.
what's going on? But overall, man, I mean, it's Kevin Kiner. Like this is his world. Like he grew with Ahsoka musically as well, as a
Yeah.
composer. So he knew exactly what to do here. Likewise with Anakin. So yeah, it's just it hit for sure. It hit.
That's awesome. So, what's your favorite John Williams Star Wars score? What's like your number one that's like, oh, this is it?
Hmm. I'll go with Anakin's theme. Which if for
Nice.
anyone who's like watched my videos and stuff, like I've said that's my favorite one. There's a couple others that are definite top fives,
Mm,
obviously, but yeah, it's for me it's Anakin's theme, which coincidentally is in episode one. So
yeah, yeah,
just to go with the Phantom Menace thing. But happy 25 by the way for that. But
yeah.
um, yeah, Anakin's theme is just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. It's just yeah, can't beat it for me.
Nice. And like, yeah, like you just mentioned, it is the 25-year anniversary this year. I am hoping that they re-release it in the theaters like they did with Empire and Jedi. Cause like
Dude,
imagine seeing Phantom Menace on IMAX with Dolby surround sound, hearing Duel of the Fates with our technology now. I,
yes.
I would go every day for like 4 days straight just to hear it. It would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, for sure. I thankfully I got to see it in 3D when that happened, and
Oh,
there
nice.
was all that talk, like, "We're gonna redo all of them," which I think I forget if we talked about this with, on a previous episode,
Yeah.
but yeah, when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, memory unlocked," because, yeah, I got to see episode 1 in 3D, as I was older, that was such a fun experience, so, yeah, to see that now again in theaters would be just sick.
It would.
So,
Fingers
yeah.
crossed. I hope they do it. Like, I
I
don't
mean,
understand why they wouldn't. It's a no-brainer.
yeah, I mean, they did it with that random episode of Ahsoka, So, like, it's doable,
Yeah.
yeah, I think for that, it was pretty limited theaters, though, I don't know.
It was 10, I think, total in the United States or worldwide. I know
Yeah,
in Florida, it was only Orlando at Disney Springs, and I could have
right,
went because 'cause I'm not that far, but, like,
likewise.
I was working that day, and I know the traffic getting there would have been nuts, and, like, for those
Yeah.
events, you have to go 2 to 3 hours early because I had a buddy in
Yeah,
Rhode Island drive to, like, the New York screening, and he got there like an hour, hour and a half before, and it was already packed. They
Yep.
wouldn't let him in.
Turned
So
away. I know. There's a lot of that, unfortunately.
yeah,
But hopefully that tells them like, "Oh, there's a demand for this." You know, like people will pay and show up. So, yeah, I think they should do that as much as possible.
yeah.
That would be awesome.
So speaking of the movies, we've gotten a bunch of news this last week, and it's about
Right.
time because it's been since the strike stopped. Star Wars has been radio silent. Everyone else has got stuff. Marvel,
Right.
DC, Netflix, Amazon, HBO. Everyone's been getting updates, but us.
Right.
And finally, we got that announcement that Mando is going to be a movie.
Dude.
What do you feel about that? It being a movie?
So, I'm pumped.
Hmm.
Just I have to say that like right off the bat, I am so pumped. I am I am a little worried about deadlines and like
Mm,
the rushing of things, especially
yeah.
because we're gonna have Mando season 4 too, you know, like, we're having both. It's not one or the other, like, they're still
Yeah,
doing Mando season 4, and then this movie is gonna be like a season finale. So sick, but I hope that, I don't know, I hope that they're not rushing things, I guess.
yeah,
Um, I think we could all, as Star Wars fans, agree, like, we want quality over quantity. Like, quantity, yes, but not at the sacrifice of quality. So,
yeah,
um yeah, I mean, it'd be kinda hard to screw up Mando and Grogu, right? So,
yeah,
we'll
exactly.
see. But with that being said, I have a feeling this isn't new. I have a feeling they've been
Yeah,
working on this for a while, like, they have been working on Luke's CG for a long time, you know?
yeah.
I forget, like, what year the first time we saw Luke was, like, at the end of season 2,
Tw
2020?
2020 or 2021? Yeah,
think it
one of
was
those.
I
Yeah, it
think
was
it
a
was
couple years.
2020, yeah.
Yeah,
So, and then in season 3 or wait, no. Yeah, yeah, no, actually, Book of Boba Fett.
Book of
That's my
Boba,
recap.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that we got Luke, and he looked even better, it's like
way better.
yeah, like, they're just, evolving this, and I think they've been working nonstop toward this. So, I think it's gonna be a banger. I am slightly worried about just how much so quickly, like, is gonna be coming out, Um, especially with we're releasing on this date 2 years from now,
Yeah.
but, like, we haven't even written anything yet, like, yo, it's like, we don't need a deadline, just tell us you're working on it?
Yeah, I'm a little I was excited the minute I saw it. I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome." But now I'm confused because every day when I wake up, it's something different about how the structure is gonna be. So when we first got the
Right.
announcement, we kinda assumed it's just a movie and no season 4. Then the next day, there's reports they're still
Right.
doing season 4. I'm like, "That's kinda confusing, which is first?" Then the next day, "Oh, it's season 4 is gonna be 6 episodes, and the finale is gonna be the movie." So it's like I just want them to clarify how they're doing it so we can know cuz like the if it's 6 episodes and then the finale is the movie, I don't mind that cuz I'm already up to date with everything, but for your
Right.
average person that's just going to the movie theater and it's the tail end of a story that maybe they didn't watch the first 6 episodes, it could be kind of confusing and
Yeah.
for me, I'm wondering how quickly will that movie drop? Like, will we get the 6th episode that Tuesday, and will the movie drop that week or the next week, or is it months later? Like, is there gonna be a period in between?
Right.
So, there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air where it's like, now I'm kinda curious how it's gonna play out.
Jeez, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Are they gonna have, like, a 10-minute long recap like
At
they
the
do
big
at the
yeah, yeah, like
you
at the
know?
beginning of a new season of a show, if like,
Yeah, yeah.
last season, yeah, so, like, how is that gonna
Huh.
work?
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know, and hopefully, they don't dumb down the movie, like, you wanna make it, as accessible as you can, but, don't dumb it down. Like, Star Wars Episode 3, we didn't have to explain everything that happened in 1 and 2, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
you're watching Episode 3. "Oh, I'm watching the 3rd of this." So,
Yeah.
same thing with books. So, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully they can market it and write it in a way that is a continuation and not have to, like, recap too much or, you know, play to a newbie at here. That would be kind of a bummer. So
Yeah, because it could be kinda
Yeah.
like how Ahsoka, the first 2 episodes was kinda slow because it's kinda recapping Rebels in a way and
Yeah, a little,
introducing
yeah.
everybody to Hera, to Sabine, to all these characters that we knew already. We wanted to just jump in it. Like, in our minds, this is Rebel season 5, just go. We know what's going
Go,
on.
like, let's go, yeah.
Yeah, but they had to
There's a
slow
little
it
bit of
down.
that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be so interesting to see, but I know no matter what, it's gonna do 1,000,000,000 because just because of
Yeah.
little Grogu, it's gonna be Mando on the poster. They're gonna have the popcorn buckets with Grogu with the ears, the
Yes.
Mando cups, like,
Bring
it
it.
yeah,
Bring it on.
it'll be fun. I'm kinda glad that's the first movie that's gonna be back in theaters over the Rey movie, just because like, I'm looking forward to see the Rey movie. I'm not, like, super hype and excited, but I'll give it a chance, right?
For
But
sure.
I just feel like if it was the first one back after 8, 6, 7 years, and it's kind of, like, continuing the last story that wasn't, received well by everyone,
Totally.
is that the best business decision? Like, you guys are about money, so
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, I know. That was another thing is, like, after these strikes and the worry about, like, "Oh, like, they're trying to rush things." I hope that's not what's
yeah,
happening, but yeah, I agree. I think it would be smart to kind of, heal, not that it's their job to heal the fandom menace, but,
yeah,
maybe heal the fandom menace a little bit, before launching, a what is, I guess, a controversial film.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I'm pumped, especially for the Ray thing. I am pumped. Um, Daisy Ridley is excited. She
yeah,
said that, there are interviews where she said she read the outline of the story and she's actually, like, super pumped. She said that she wouldn't have returned if it wasn't what it is. So
yeah.
that makes me hopeful. So yeah, but no, you're right. This Mando and Grogu needs to come out. Like, let's you know do some healing as a community. Let's
Yeah,
have some
yeah.
fun, and then we can go into that.
Yeah, and, like and then the next day I waking up, there's a report that this might be the start of a trilogy, that this is the first one,
What?
Filoni is the middle movie, and then the 3rd movie will end it up. So now it's like people are
What?
theorizing, like, is this just kind of like a whole new sequel trilogy, but squeezed in? And they're kind of doing
Dude.
like an Heir to the Empire. Like, are we going to see Luke's Jedi Academy potentially? They're going to take down Thrawn. They could do so much because there's so much time. It's
Wow.
exciting. The potential is
Wow.
exciting. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, man. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even know that also. You'll have to send me
yeah,
the link to
yeah,
that. That is exciting. That is exciting. That definitely leaves more room for, you know, expanding on the stories and letting people do their thing, especially with Dave Filoni as, like, he already is the head of, like,
yeah.
creative, right? Okay.
He's like the Kevin Feige of Star Wars.
Yeah, okay, okay. I didn't know if that was, like, going to happen or if that is officially the
Yeah.
thing. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, so, yeah, that makes me hopeful, obviously. Yeah, that's cool. That's pretty exciting.
I like that though, because like with the whole Thrawn stuff, we know that Mando season 4 is gonna have Thrawn in it because he's back in the galaxy.
Has to. Yeah,
And I feel like you can't defeat Thrawn in one season or in one movie. There is no way. Like, he deserves a trilogy, and like this would set it up. Like, if in the
yeah.
Mando movie, Thrawn comes in towards the end. Dave's movie, a bulk of it is Thrawn running amok, and then the
Mhm.
final movie is them taking Thrawn down and the good guys winning potentially. So
Yeah,
it gives that story time to breathe and not be rushed in one sitting of, because most people thought Dave's movie was going to be just Thrawn and
right.
Luke and all of them taking Thrawn down, which would be kind of
Mm.
rushed in one film.
Yeah, I mean, this is Thrawn we're talking about. So, yeah, it would be super sick if the Mando and Grogu movie is really just leading up to the sequels, kind of like a Rogue One of the original trilogy.
Yeah,
That would be dope, and we kind of, see some fallout of, you know, the rise of the First Order and maybe even get some fallout from Kylo. Who knows, like, when, I guess,
yeah.
timeline-wise, they haven't confirmed, right? Like, when that's happening technically.
It
So,
just during Mandoverse time, so it's in that
yeah,
area.
Yeah, so we could potentially get some serious fallout, like some big moments that, could explain, a lot of the issues, like, especially for Luke, and I
Why was
think
he so broken?
yeah, which I think I'm sure I'm almost positive you talked about this previously too, but, we should have Mara Jade, like,
Yes.
we should have that, relationship and her death, happen at the hands of Kylo even, and that is what breaks that's what breaks Luke. Like, that would make me really appreciate The Last
Wow.
Jedi a lot more, um,
Yeah, I never
you
thought of
know
that. Like, if it was Kylo that killed Mara Jade and that's what
Ugh,
sent like, Luke just lost everyone.
dude. Yeah,
Wow.
like, that could be really compelling, for Luke's character
Yeah,
arc, his arc, and yeah, and then, if Thrawn is behind all of this to begin with, he's behind Snoke, he's behind the First Order, and even behind the New Republic,
yeah,
oh, man, that would be wild, and then for Rey's for those next 3 movies to end up
yeah.
taking Thrawn down, yeah, I'm so here for that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So when we got that Mando movie announcement, one of the craziest things in that article where it was just casually in there at the end that oh yeah, and Dave Filoni is currently in development of Ahsoka season 2. And like reading that sentence, I
Yeah,
got so hyped because I love Ahsoka. I think Rebels arguably might be my favorite show, and like Ahsoka just enhanced it because I include
mhm.
Ahsoka with that, and getting
Yeah,
a second season and getting to explore more of Peridia because you saw his post that he posted, right?
yeah,
That picture with the father's finger,
yeah.
Ahsoka and Sabine, like more Mortis, more Peridia, Ahsoka season 2. What'd you think seeing all that stuff about Ahsoka season 2?
I'm beyond excited. I have,
Oh yes, Balin and Shin, yes.
so, yeah, Ahsoka is up there, yeah, definitely up there for my shows. I am so excited. It really sucks about I don't know what they're gonna do with Balin, like, how are they
Yeah,
going to pull this off? Yeah, it's such a bummer, but yeah, I mean, I think they can do that. I think they have to.
they have to.
And for me, whenever I saw Ahsoka and Sabine on the statue, kind of following Balin, that for
Yeah,
me was super relieving because I was worried that they were just going to, let that fizzle out and we wouldn't ever know what Balin's up to. No,
yeah,
like they're going all in here, obviously.
yeah.
So that was super exciting and relieving to me. Yeah, I'm just pumped. I want more Ahsoka, big time. So
Me too. I think the latest reports or rumors or whatever you want to call it is that Filoni is I think he's trying to do Ahsoka season 2 first, then his movie after, which
oh,
originally
wow.
originally I wanted his movie first, but that's back when I thought his movie was gonna be Thrawn's gonna be taken down, they're gonna win, and then we could go back to Ahsoka and her story. But if it's
Mm,
like in the middle of a trilogy, I think it's like a bigger picture, a bigger story. I'm fine with getting Ahsoka season 2 before the movie now, but like my favorite part of
yeah.
Ahsoka was Balin and Shin and Peridia. I'm so intrigued by Peridia.
Oh,
I
man.
wanna know what's going on there. You had the Mortis gods, you have the Night Sisters, you had the Zepho stuff on the Night Sister stuff. Like, there's so much cool stuff
Dude.
on that planet.
Yeah, and yeah, and you have Anakin there now too,
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's not a hologram or like, this is Anakin. So, that's a huge deal, and it makes me even more intrigued, okay, what is Peridia? Like, how and why is Anakin here too, besides following Ahsoka around? I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of a big deal. They're in a completely different galaxy. Um, yeah, we have to see more of what's going on. Balin knows, we don't know, but Balin knows, and, yeah,
yeah.
we have to see what's going on.
Yeah, that's gonna be so exciting. I cannot wait for all that stuff. So the next thing that's kind of been popping up like crazy the last day or so, and like I think I saw it a couple of days ago, and I'm like, nah, they're not gonna do that. But like now everyone's like talking about it and reporting it that they might do a what if version
Oh,
for Star Wars. So you're familiar with the
yeah,
Marvel what if, right?
for sure. Yeah.
So, that they're working on a Star Wars one, which that makes me happy because I enjoyed the Marvel What If, but with What If, it could be considered not canon, so there's no
Mhm.
restrictions. So you could do whatever you want and not have to worry about, will this fit with this or that? Like, you could go crazy. Would you wanna see a Star Wars What If?
Yeah, I wanna see one I really wanna see is if Padme really sided with Anakin, you know?
Oh, and didn't die. Yeah,
It didn't
yeah,
die, like, she really sided with him, and maybe even Anakin still fights Obi-Wan, and that outcome is the same, and,
yeah,
Padme kind of helps Anakin back to Coruscant, instead of Sidious coming, like, she kind of helps Anakin back to Coruscant, and,
yeah,
and then she has all this sympathy and it was like, "Yeah, okay, the Empire, wow." Like, that
yeah,
would be that would be crazy, you know, um, maybe it goes against, Padme's character a bit, but just
yeah.
to see dark Padme with Darth Vader would
And the
be
twins, she would have the twins
oh,
with them
yeah,
too.
right, of course, of course,
Yeah,
like, to see the dark twins, like, and them obviously super epic, force sensitive, like,
yeah,
very powerful family we're dealing with here, so even, there could be no Sidious at some point, after Luke and Leia are old enough, so that I mean, that there's just so much you could do with that story,
yeah,
it could pit, if Sidious is then trying to rule of two, trying to get rid of Luke and Leia, and then it's just Vader, Padme, and the kids trying to escape Sidious. Like, wow,
yeah,
like there's just so much you could do with that story alone.
uh-huh.
Um, yeah, so either that or if Qui-Gon didn't die, like that would be cool.
Oh,
'Cause,
that would
you
be
know,
huge
that
if
would be cool.
Qui-Gon didn't die.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would love to see that. I think all of us would love to see that.
No, we would. Or another crazy one I was thinking of is, what if Darth Maul won, and what if Darth Maul took out Obi-Wan, and then
Oh,
Maul maybe took Anakin as his apprentice, or whatever. But like, what if Darth
yeah,
Maul, there's so many that you could do. Another cool
yeah.
one would be like, what if Yoda trained Leia instead of Luke? Because I want to see
Yep.
Leia training so bad. We got that tease and that flashback in Rise of Skywalker, but, like, that's a story, and I know my buddy Will at Diamond Figs, he's dying to
Mhm.
see Leia Jedi training with lightsaber, like, oh,
Totally, totally. Yeah, what if what if it was Luke that went to Alderaan, and
yeah,
Leia
oh,
went to
it's
Tatooine.
reversed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what if they're like, "Oh, we've always wanted a
Oh,
baby boy," and so they take
wow.
yeah, that could be cool,
Yeah.
and then,
S
yeah, Ben Kenobi's watching over Leia, like
there's so you could literally do this for everything, like, what if Ahsoka joined Maul to fight
mm,
Sidious in Clone Wars? Like, the
yeah,
options are endless, and this could be a show where you could drop a season every year with
dude,
something funky and crazy, and people would be happy.
right.
So, hopefully they do it, hopefully it comes out. I just, oh, man, people are gonna be making theory videos for a while on what they
Yeah.
could do, and I
Yeah,
know whenever they drop the first trailer for it, if it is official and comes out, people are gonna go nuts breaking down that trailer.
for sure. Yeah, is it, like, still rumored or is it
It's still
official?
it's still
Okay,
rumored, but, like, there's a
okay.
ton of people talking about it, and, like, it's just getting more and more traction. So, yeah, man. I mean, I don't know how soon it would be, but, like, if it's animated, I can't imagine it taking that long. Maybe next year, maybe like a
Yeah,
celebration next year, they announce it and we get it at the end of, the year next year, possibly.
yeah, that would be dope. Yeah, another thing another thing I thought about was, well, what if, like, I don't know if you read growing up, I read all of the books that are now Legends, so, like, the new
Mhm.
Jedi Order series. So you're familiar with the Yuuzhan Vong?
Yes, yes.
Dude, so which, by the way, hopefully that gets tied in. We had the sister magic and the night troopers and stuff, and like this army, that they're apparently going to need.
Yeah.
I hope that even if it's not the Yuuzhan Vong, hopefully it's an equivalent.
Mhm.
That would be cool to see. Um, but yeah, I mean, a what if series to kind of maybe bring some legends stories to life, that are like
Yes.
definitely not canon. They've been reintroducing some legends, like Thrawn, for example, like we've
Yeah.
reintroduced Thrawn, but maybe some of those legend stories that are definitely like they definitely can't be part of canon now. That would be cool to see in What If. So
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about all the stuff that we already have, like, they could literally bring Starkiller in,
Yeah,
Plagueis in, all that cool stuff from Legends, all the like the KOTOR Old Republic stuff in and make stuff like
yeah,
yeah, that would be awesome too.
yeah. It'd be like a visual representation of legends. Like that would be sick.
It would be,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's I think potentially 4 projects that we should get this year. So there's Bad Batch season 3,
Mm,
Tales season 2,
yes.
Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew. What are you looking forward to the most from all those?
Oh man, I think Acolyte. I think that's just. I've been in the mood for something like that, like to see.
Yeah,
That's. I think that's what I'll have to go with. Bad Batch is going to be. I think it's inevitably just going to be so sad, like just so
yep,
heartbreaking, and I'm also here for that. But Acolyte is it's live action, so there's something special about the story that it seems like they're going to be telling with that, and
mhm.
seeing that in live action like that's going to be pretty sick. So that's I think number one. Tales is so good too, man.
So good.
Ah, it's it's tough to make these decisions. These
Yeah.
questions making me decide. Yeah, man.
And then so Skeleton Crew is the one that most people like aren't really like too excited for because I mean we don't know much about it except for it's during the
Yeah,
Mando timeline between season 3 and 4.
right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be like fun, and cool, but I don't know, like what story could they be telling, and
Yeah.
why is it going to be more compelling than all these other stories that we're getting? I'm not sure yet. Yeah, it might just be another fun addition to our collection, or it might
Yeah, yeah.
be, or it might be, or it might be crazy and mind blowing. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, but I think I'm looking forward most well to Tales because I know Tales for a fact has to be amazing because that first season blew me
Man,
away, especially the Dooku episodes when he's erasing Camino from the archives. Like the minute that moment happened, I'm like, I know what he's doing.
yeah,
It was Dooku that did it. Like that blew me away.
yeah, that whole thing, and just the Qui Gon stuff.
Oh, yes.
Man, just that was definitely something that we all have always wanted to see.
Hmm.
And like needed to see, even like we needed to experience that, and it just makes you go into the prequels with that much more appreciation,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Like you've done something right if it makes you appreciate already existing stuff more than you already did. So that's yeah, Tales is sick.
Yeah, Acolyte. So I went to London Celebration last year and we saw the trailer for Acolyte. And that same day, we also saw the trailer for Ahsoka for the first time.
Mm,
And I was literally just as hyped for Acolyte as I was for Ahsoka from the trailer. So
yeah.
the trailer looks very, very good. And it's like from the point of view of the Sith, which is very interesting. We haven't really ever had anything like that. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to Acolyte, despite like the comments the creator said about George and the prequels or whatever. Did you see all that stuff
Oh
floating
no,
around?
what? I didn't
You-
see this.
Oh, I guess she mentioned it a while ago, something about
I missed that.
how I mean, it's not that bad because you know how people over dramatize everything nowadays. But she
That's
mentioned
true. Yeah.
the first part was something about that it's like George isn't the only one that can do Star Wars, which I mean, technically, like Filoni does Star Wars. There's other people that could do it. But then she said something about misogyny or something else, like at the end of that. I forgot what it was. I kind of blanked it
Oh
out.
man.
But to be fair, she was at the panel and the way she spoke about Star Wars and how she grew up with it, she does feel like a pure fan that grew up with it, especially with EU books in the 90s is what she was really like harking on. So
Mm,
I still think it should be good. And like I think she's learned to not say stuff since then because since then I haven't really seen or heard anything negative about her.
yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about the misogyny, like, within the fandom. Like, I mean, there's some pretty, like, nasty stuff out there, so that yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about that, but I don't know, coming after our boy George, what did he do? Like,
Yeah.
like he's even said it himself, like these stories were actually kind of written for his daughters, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like, you know, I there is definitely there is definitely the hate for George for the prequels, which I think we're mostly over now, like as the prequel
yeah.
generation has
That's
grown
over.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that finally is, you know, is over. But you know, thankfully, hopefully it wasn't like that, like, "Oh, man, the prequel sucked." Hopefully it wasn't like that kind of a thing, and maybe she has her own, you know, stuff that she's had to deal with growing up and, being a Star Wars nerd herself, you know,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
that's what she was getting at, I don't know. I tend to hopefully I don't know, hopefully the benefit of the doubt is
yeah.
constructive here, but
No, for sure. So
yeah.
earlier you mentioned you liked Andor. So you're a big fan of Andor? Because I know Andor's kind of like split. Like people either
Mhm.
love it or they're not a fan of it at all.
Yeah, so, yeah, the thing is, like, it's cool for, like, a sci-fi thing, but it's not Star Wars, like, that's the
Yeah.
thing that I hear the most,
Hmm.
and like, I kind of get it because the pacing is totally different. We don't
Yep.
have any lightsabers, like, we don't have really any legacy characters, you know, so, like, okay, I kinda get that, soundtrack-wise too, like, there's, you know, there's some definitely some different stuff, but I think it's so Star Wars, like, watching it
Yeah.
for me yeah, like, I felt so embedded in the Star Wars universe, like,
Uh huh.
you know, whenever you're playing, you know, like for me, it was a lot of Star Wars video games growing up, but like especially for me, Django the Bounty Hunter game on PS2.
Yes.
Like, dude,
Yes.
like which I think we all kind of do this. Like, I wouldn't go for the main objectives. Like, I'm not that there were side quests in Bounty Hunter, but I would just kind of free roam. You know, like I
Yeah.
would be on
Yeah.
Coruscant, like just chilling out, walking instead of running, like pretending like I'm in the universe. Like,
Hmm.
what does the daily look like? And that's the feeling that I got from Andor was that like free roam
Okay.
RPG aspect to things. Like we saw that like day to day life, civilian life, you know, we got
Yeah.
more of a glimpse of that in that feeling that I had while watching Andor was something that I hadn't had since being in that imaginary space,
Yeah.
you know, playing those video games growing up, you know, so or even like little characters I'd make with my Legos and like make little forts for them and stuff. Like that
Yeah.
feeling, I got that again in Andor, and that was so special. And on top of that, so besides like the nostalgia part of that, I think
Yeah.
Andor also really hit for me because of what it's telling us, like what's happening in the
Hmm.
galaxy. Like it's really high stakes what's happening.
Yeah.
Like like it's going down, you know. And just to see that, oh yeah, it comes down to like a couple of people doing the right thing or like standing up and like you know getting some other people to like do something brave with them,
Yeah.
and that creates a you know this ripple effect throughout the galaxy, like these high stakes moments like that, like it's I don't know, my adrenaline was pumping quite a bit toward
Yeah.
the end, and yeah, just you know that element plus the nostalgia element, that's I don't know, I really do enjoy Andor, so
That is awesome because like you
yeah.
shocked me when you said it felt so Star Wars because I was gonna say wow, but the way you broke it down and comparing it to Bounty Hunters, the Jango Fett game, it makes sense, and I could see like why it hit for you, and that makes complete sense. That's awesome. That's such a different perspective on Andor because like I wasn't a huge fan of it. Like it was like it looked great, the writing, the acting, all that stuff was
Of course.
amazing, but
Yeah.
like it was a little slow for me, and like what kind of killed it, what made it well 2 things that made it worse for me is because in my Star Wars brain, I know in this time period, everybody's alive in their prime running around. So I'm like, is Darth
Mm,
Maul gonna pop up? Captain Rex is somewhere, Ahsoka somewhere, Vader somewhere. So I'm waiting for that
right.
because I know this is the peak time period for that. So we didn't get none of that, which fine. And Tales of the Jedi. They dropped Tales of the Jedi right in the middle of Andor, and
That's
Tales
true.
is the most
Yeah, that's
Star
true.
Wars you can get. after watching that, it's like I can't go back to watching that. Now, I mean, I
Right.
did finish it, and there were a couple episodes I really did enjoy, but I can say for season 2, we saw the trailer for it. It does look a lot more fast-paced, action-packed. So I'm looking forward to season 2 of Andor for sure.
There's a trailer for season 2?
So at London Celebration, they spoiled us. So there was
Oh,
the first day there
dude.
is the Lucasfilm showcase panel. So we saw the Ahsoka trailer first. We saw Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, Bad Batch, and Andor season 2. So we saw all those trailers April in London. So and none of the trailers have
Yeah,
came out because the strikes and the delays and everything's been all
right.
wobbly. But we saw everything. Like Bad Batch trailer, it looks like everyone's gonna die and be very sad and dark. It looks
Dude.
very dark.
That's right. You were talking to Nikki about Celebration, and
Yep.
that one specifically. Dude, okay, that's cool. So more action, which makes sense. Like
Yeah.
it should be more action packed because if the slow burn, right, is going to continue, that means we're going to have like a bonfire, like an out of control
Yeah.
forest fire. But it should be at the end of Andor season 2, right? Like if the slow burn is going to just continue and not start over.
Yeah.
So that makes complete sense and is also super exciting. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. So yeah, I'll give the second season a chance for sure. But
Yeah.
like, the one thing I felt like we were robbed of in Andor was they teased that dinner party with Palpatine and Mom Mothma a few times, and then you saw that they were even ready, all dressed to go to the dinner party, and I was waiting for a moment
Yeah,
across the table, back and forth,
dude.
political drama, Mon Mothma going against Palpatine, but we
God.
never got that. That would have been epic.
Yeah. See, like that kind of stuff, that's the kind of thing that is like that high stakes, like this is really uncomfortably intense. Like this is,
Yes.
like that is kind of the feeling that I got in a lot of those episodes in season 1, for me.
Mhm.
And actually, ironically, yeah, it had a lot to do with Mon Mothma. Just her undercoverness and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just so, oh, it just like gives you the creeps. Just, yeah, high stakes, I guess. So yeah, hopefully we get something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, we should, because Mon Mothma, I mean, she kind of, we we don't see her. We only see her in Return of the Jedi, right?
Return of the Jedi, I think there was a deleted Revenge of the Sith scene with her, and she was in
Yeah,
Rebels. I think she was in an episode
right.
of Rebels as well.
Yes, but I mean, like once the Empire is there in like the original trilogy, like we don't see her in A New Hope, right?
Nah, I don't
I
think
don't
so,
think so.
no.
Yeah. So I was trying to remember if like she was on Yavin, but yeah, yeah. So I mean, at some point, because in Return of the Jedi, like Mon Mothma is not like coming in on a hologram, still at the still on Coruscant or something. Like
Yeah,
she's a full on, like, in the rebellion. She's wearing like this cloak thing. It's not these like extravagant dresses and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, at some point she has to get found out and like has to be okay. Well, I can't do this, double
yeah,
agent thing anymore. So yeah, that'd be sick to see that. Maybe after an encounter with Palpatine, who knows? That'd be dope.
yeah, so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's funny, for my channel, my first reaction videos were gonna be Andor reaction videos, and I remember I watched the first 2 episodes, I recorded it, I went to edit it, and I was like, "Nothing happened. I'm not reacting
Yeah,
to this
yeah,
show." So,
yeah.
because I mean, I didn't wanna be one of those people who makes content just bashing it. Because like, if I don't
Of
like it, I
course.
mean, whatever. So, I never
Yeah.
did reactions until I think Mando season 3 came out. But, like, for Andor, like,
Nice.
when I'm looking back at that footage, I'm like, "Man, I didn't react. I'm just sitting there waiting the
Yeah.
whole first 3 episodes, he's looking for his sister, and then he forgets about her the rest of the show."
Right. Yeah, what to react to, yeah, I mean, it's a slow burn.
Yeah,
Can't spin that any other way. It truly is quite the slow burn. Yeah, but I did enjoy it. So,
that's awesome.
yeah, we'll see
Yeah.
where it goes.
Yeah. Now, what about Mando season 3? Because I know that's not a lot of people's favorite season of Mando. How'd you enjoy that one? And wasn't the music composer, wasn't it not Ludwig in season 3, or was it someone different?
It was someone different, who works with Ludwig,
Oh, okay, okay.
and, oh, man, why can't I forget his name? Or why can't I remember his name? I forgot his name. Um, oh, man, that's a bummer. I hope I think about it soon, but anyway, he's actually, like, he's a great composer.
Uh-huh.
I loved his stuff
Mhm.
in season 3, and he also did the soundtrack for Book of Boba. So,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, which was, I think my favorite cue from that, which I'll end up doing a breakdown for, was, the Luke episode, with Grogu training.
Oh.
Dude, that whole musical sequence is
I can
so
hear it right
moving.
now. It's so
Yes,
calming and peaceful. Oh,
yes, and just, like, moving too, like, whenever it, like, really picks up, whenever Grogu's, like, training, like, hard,
yeah.
yeah, like, that was so moving. So, yeah, super sick. The soundtrack was awesome. Season 3, I only watched it once.
Me too.
I I want to rewatch it though. Like, there were, I think I enjoyed it. I don't think I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I I think the worlds were fun. I forgot what world it was with Jack Black and Lizzo, which was just
Oh,
wild, but, like,
yeah.
that was cool. Like, the world was cool. You know, I mean, yeah, I don't remember a lot though.
It's weird. A lot of people have that same feeling because, like, it wasn't like 1 and 2. Because 1 and 2, I'm pretty sure we all remember everything because it was like next level.
I would say so, yeah.
See, so we kind of assumed and expected season 3 to be the same thing, and, like, a lot of us were thinking, "It's gotta top Luke, there's gotta be something better than Luke," and there was nothing like that level. There was
Right.
a lot of really, really good things in there, though, like, seeing the Mythosaur was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was dope.
Order 66, seeing Kelleran Beck, Ahmed Best save
That's right.
Grogu,
That's
that
right.
that
Yes.
was dope.
That was my favorite. Yeah.
Zeb's live action debut, which
Mm,
nobody leaked or there's no rumors, that was a surprise.
mhm.
And then even Moff Gideon, like, his armor was badass, like, he had
Yeah.
his clones, he was throwing shade at Thrawn to the
Mhm.
council,
Yeah.
but I feel like they took too long to bring Giancarlo in. Like, you have Gustavo Fring, he's such a peak villain, and you
Yeah.
bring him in towards the end, and then you kill him in his full Beskar Mando suit, like, I don't know. So,
Yeah.
the pacing was kind of all over because, like, I thought the whole season was gonna be them getting to the mines of Mandalore, but they did that in an episode and a half. So after that, I'm like,
Yeah.
what's next? What's going on? So
Right.
it was a little different, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it. Yeah, I need to rewatch it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I really I really did like the fight at the end, like, all the jetpacks flying around, like,
Yeah.
that
Yep.
was wild.
That
That
was
was
cool.
that was pretty sick.
Yeah.
I just remembered that. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't think it was the season so much as it was, like, just personally, like, time-wise, like,
Mhm.
it's really hard to find time to, like, watch something now, or even to rewatch something especially,
Yeah.
so, yeah, but good point.
What'd you think of Luke's theme in the finale of season 2 of Mando?
Yeah, I that's on my list to break down.
Yeah?
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah?
Yeah, overall, phenomenal. Like,
Yes.
goosebumps,
Yep.
the whole thing. I mean, it's and emotional, like, dude, when Din takes his helmet off,
Yeah.
I can't handle it. Even now, I
Yeah.
have, it's so funny. We were in a Hallmark store because they have, Star Wars stuff, and
Mhm.
we're just, like, looking for, for Christmassy things, and we found this ornament that was Din Djarin holding Grogu with his helmet off, just like
Oh.
this, and
Yeah.
Grogu's little hand on his face.
Yeah.
And seeing the ornament, I teared up, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, well, I guess I have to get this now." Like, it's a pretty good indicator you should buy something. So
Yeah.
I happily spent too much money on that at the Hallmark store, and, yeah, now now every time I see it, I think this is only the second year we've had it, but anyway, every time I see it and put on the tree, I get teary eyed. It's such a compelling sequence, and then like having Luke and R2 there. I mean, it's
Yes,
you can't beat that.
When R2 came out, I started to tear up because I wasn't even
Yes,
thinking that, and then he pulled
right.
up and just all the feelings came back, like, even I
Yes.
think John Favreau said that, like, he was on set and that when he saw R2, it was like with Luke, like, he lost it on set. That's
Yeah,
how I felt at home, and the little Grogu running to R2, like, that's a moment you never thought would ever happen or, like, theorize, like, R2, Grogu running, like, it was so
yeah.
special.
So special and just so heartwarming to see Luke in this phase of his life,
Yeah,
after, after Vader's death and he's rebuilding things, and it's after the Empire, so just
yes.
seeing that they have a strong bond still, they've made it through so much and they're still hanging out, like that was just so heartwarming. We got all of that whenever as soon as we saw R2, like that's everything that,
Yeah,
all the gaps that were filled in. So yeah, yeah.
so awesome. So, that's pretty much everything I have. Do you have anything, coming up soon on your Instagram that everyone could look forward to?
Oh man, I mean, just a lot of breakdowns. I'm not stopping anytime soon. There's a lot to. I mean, decades worth of, of
Yeah,
musical stuff
yeah,
to get through. So yeah, just like lots of breakdowns. Everyone who's been following me knows like I'm not cranking stuff out every day. It's in my free time, I'm doing it. Like
mhm,
after the girls go to bed and it's just okay, I have like a couple of hours.
yeah,
It's like that's whenever I'm doing that. So yeah, it's slow, but it's fulfilling. Nothing specifically. I mean, the next couple of breakdowns that I'm going to be doing are going to be solo
mhm.
related. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I mean, Han Solo has his own theme. John Williams wrote a theme for Han Solo, so, like,
Yeah,
that's dope. There's a love theme I mean, we all know Han and Leia's love theme, which is, you can't beat that. But
yeah,
but Han and Kira,
yeah,
they have
that's
a love
true.
theme, dude, like, there's a lot of gold there. So, yeah, I'm gonna get into Solo a little bit. There's a couple other fun stuff I wanna break
Yeah.
down, so keep your eyes peeled.
Awesome. So again, guys, the link to his Instagram will be down in the description. Go follow, go check him out. But thanks again, man, for coming on. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. Again, an honor to be here. Thank you. Let's keep doing what we're doing. It's awesome.
Yep. And that's it for this episode of Sith Talk, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.